What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to this new lesson. So today we're gonna talk about the one candle that made me over six figures in funding in the last month. This candle will be the best thing you will use to find your bias, define your drawn liquidity, and frame your high probability smart money reversal, which is a big part in my model currently. We're also gonna run over the current week we had and just made a little recap to talk about it. So we're gonna go over the three main points I use for that, and let's dive directly into it. We're not gonna waste some time. So today we're going to talk about weekly profile. This is the first thing we'll talk about because this is the main thing I use currently in my model, all right, to define my drawn liquidity and everything I just said previously. So the first weekly profile we use is the classic expansion. I will not go over in depth of each of them, but I will explain how they can form and you will be able to gather data from them by just looking at your chart. So the first one is the classic expansion, like I just said. So classic expansion, pretty simple. Monday open, Tuesday will either sweep the high or the low of Monday candle, and after that we'll get an expansion either higher or lower until Friday close. So the two different way you can write this is that Monday will open, we will either go lower or higher. I don't care. We'll take a bullish example for now. Monday will go lower. We will either mitigate a PY or edge some liquidity. Then Tuesday will open higher, and then distribute lower, take out Monday low, and then at this low, exactly this low, we'll form sequential SMT to confirm the reversal for a week, and then back higher, form. So what I recommend is a 1 hour to 4 hour CISD to really confirm the current trend we have, the switch we have in the trend. And then what we want to see is a continuation higher the next day and the next day and the next day until Friday open. And Friday mainly will form the premium wick of the weekly candle. So we will rebalance lower. Most of the time, it will be the 0.5% of the weekly candle. So the next weekly profile will be the midweek reversal. The midweek reversal, exactly the same as the classic expansion. The only difference is that we will sweep Tuesday high or Tuesday low and not Monday high or Monday low. So that's pretty simple. Same idea. We'll do a bearish example for this one. So Monday will open either higher or lower. In this case, we'll go higher. Tuesday will continue the trend. We will take out Monday high. But the point is, Tuesday high will not mitigate our PY and will not form any sequential SMT most of the time, which clearly indicate that our current structure remain bullish. So the next day you want to see higher prices and you want to see Wednesday mitigate the PY. I don't care. It can be any PY as long that we have a cracking correlation inside of this PY. For example, a weekly cycle at the highs or anything that can confirm the potential manipulation. And then obviously what will confirm us that price is bearish for now will be the 4 hour or 1 hour CISD. And after that, you want to see a continuation until Friday. Best case scenario, you will see either Tuesday or Friday mitigate the low of the week. And then you want to see a continuation in those discount PD area right there, lower towards the low of the month maybe, or lower drawn equity you have. Finally, the last weekly profile I personally use, there's a couple more, but this is the main I want to talk about, is the consolidation reversal. So what is the consolidation reversal? It's pretty simple in terms of weekly profile. I don't really use it, but you need to understand it to really be precise any week because sometimes we will just do nothing and you need to know whenever this will happen. So a consolidation weekly profile will be Monday open, Tuesday will take out the high of Monday, Wednesday will take out the high of Tuesday, and then just before Friday, we'll either take out the high of the week and then drastically drop lower, or we will take out the high, drop lower, take out the low, and then Friday will open and push higher and form a new high of the week. This is the worst weekly profile you can have. I really don't recommend trying to understand it because it can be both sides. There is no either confirmation on any side, so this is not a confluence I will use in my trading. But knowing that this can happen can be important because sometimes you will be able to recognize that price is bearish, but the weekly profile will be consolidation, will be a consolidation reversal. That means what? That means pretty much you stay hands off and you just wait patiently. This is the 3 weekly profile I've used to make over six figures in funding over the last month. And I promise you that if you master these profile, the drawn liquidity, the structure, and everything that comes together will be so much simpler to get. So how you can master all those weekly profile, it's pretty simple. So a void profile will be some profile that form during the week that aren't weekly profile, so are definitely lower probability to trade. And we will go over it, and I will give an example on the chart right after it. So the first thing is the DOL already mitigated. Monday will open, Tuesday will sweep the low of Monday. This could look as a weekly profile, yeah, but if Tuesday, I don't know, Trump speak and we expend 1,200 points, take out previous week high, and then start to drop lower, the weekly profile can switch up bearish even though our structure is bullish. So this is most likely gonna end up being a consolidation reversal, nothing more. So when the drawn liquidity on higher time frame gets mitigated early on the week, this is when I don't use the weekly profile and I focus only as the daily power of 3, not the weekly. The next thing that can form a void profile will be the lack of cracking correlation. Monday open, Tuesday swept the low of Monday. Here at this low before the expansion, we don't have any sequential SMT, any POI, any cracking correlation, PSP, swing divergence, nothing that can confirm the reversal. So this is purely 100% an engineer low. I will also give an example on the chart because it happened so many times from previous weeks. So we will go over them and just for you guys to understand what I mean by lack of cracking correlation and what I mean by this is being engineered liquidity. Finally, the last thing we consider a void profile will be either Monday or Friday making the low or high of the week. This can be valid, but in terms of weekly profile, this is not super high probability. I personally, I don't really like when Monday set the low and then we expand higher because most of the time this will be engineered liquidity. And same for Friday. Once Friday form the high or the low of the week, you can't really define any potential distribution after that because it's Friday, so we are currently closing. So there is nothing to consider a profile behind that. So now that we have every weekly profile done and you know what is a void profile, what is a midweek reversal, what is a classic expansion, and what is a consolidation reversal, we'll dive into example on the chart and we'll also review the current weekly profile we had just last week. Like that, you will be able to gather data over time. So the first example we will talk about will be the midweek reversal. So as you can see there, Wednesday sweep the high of Tuesday, Monday expand higher, and then the rest of the week we expand lower. So we'll dive into lower time frame structure to validate our reversal. So I personally go on the 1 hour or 4 hour. You really decide what you want to take. Monday open, we engineer liquidity. We don't form any type of sequential SMT. We don't sweep anything. We just engineer sell-side liquidity for later on. This is a great confluence you can use for your weekly power of 3. Also, this is super useful. We expand higher, we expand higher. Tuesday will open until Wednesday open. Once Wednesday open, we still engineer liquidity lower at our daily power of 3 and we'll expand higher. Take out Tuesday high and then we will form sequential SMT at those two high. I remember it because I remember trading it 2 weeks ago, and this was super significant if you know what is a weekly power of 3. Because we open higher, engineer liquidity at this low, engineer liquidity at this low, engineer liquidity at this low. So now we have a liquidity run right there, super easy to run if the weekly power of 3 is bearish. Wednesday took out the high of Tuesday, and then we will see a bearish move lower. This 1 hour CISD will confirm us the structure to validate the weekly power of 3. This 1 hour CISD is not valid because this low have no sequential SMT, didn't swept anything, no relation with our higher time frame power 3, nothing. So this will confirm us that price will be bearish for the rest of the week and then will continue to run. So for the rest of the week, you can expect daily power of 3 to be bearish, bearish, bearish until your drawn liquidity get mitigated. And what is your drawn liquidity? Monday low, because we didn't form any cracking correlation, we didn't form nothing. So now that we did the midweek reversal, we'll do the consolidation one. It's pretty similar. The only thing is that we never had an actual distribution for an entire week. So Monday we'll open higher, engineer sell side liquidity there. Monday night we'll take out the engineer liquidity, form a low there, low of the week. But this low of the week have no relation because we have no cracking correlation, no POI mitigated. So this will be engineer liquidity for later on. We'll expand higher, form a new high of the week, taking out this high right there. And then Tuesday will open, we'll take out Monday high, expand lower. In this current profile, this 1 hour CISD can be validated as a weekly power of 3 if we form sequential SMT there. But sometimes when news or any type of technical analysis will form higher time frame consolidation, this high, even though we have cracking correlation, will not be valid. And that's why you need to pay attention to your lower time frame structure and your daily power of 3 development, because on this case, probably the daily power of 3 wasn't clear enough to consider it bearish. So you focus on putting your hands out and just wait for structure. And as you can see there, we never actually distribute from this. We come back higher. Wednesday did the same thing. We took out Tuesday high, displaced lower from a 1 hour CISD. And this 1 hour CISD will be considered a midweek reversal. But the real point of why I consider this a consolidation reversal weekly profile is because we keep taking low and high of the week 3 times before expanding lower or higher. On this case, it's lower, but we take out Monday high, we take out Tuesday high, and then we expand lower. But we also did the same thing on the other side. We take out Tuesday low, we take out, we keep taking out low and highs in a higher time frame bullish structure. So the weekly power of 3 isn't clear enough for me to consider this high probability. Tuesday expand lower and Friday continue. So in terms of weekly power of 3, it will be a midweek reversal. But in terms of actual structure on lower time frame, this is not high probability. So I probably will consider this a consolidation power of 3. So now the next profile will be the void profile. I will go over it because it's kind of important. Pretty simple. It's even simpler than other. Monday will form the low of the week and then will continue to expand without any cracking correlation. This is engineered liquidity for higher time frame power of 3. Because at the end, I don't know when or where, but price will come down and finally mitigate it. I don't exactly know when, but it will happen. So this is it. When you see that, you don't aim for a weekly power of 3, you don't force for distribution, you just play out with lower time frame power of 3, such as the daily and the 4 hour. You don't focus on the weekly power of 3 on this case. So now that we clear every weekly profile we can have, we'll go over this week profile. This week profile was a classic expansion. As you can see, Monday opened there, Tuesday will sweep Monday's low, and then we'll blast off the buy side. This is a profile that I personally really use in my trading and to frame my high probability daily smart money reversal. So we'll go over any cracking correlation and little thing you can see on lower time frame to frame and use the weekly profile with it. Because if you were to use my model this week, you could have taken 2 trades only, and both trades were winner. One was 6R, one was 4R. So this week was an absolutely banger in terms of distribution with the weekly profile. So let's dive into the lower time frame chart, the 1 hour, and we'll dissect every day. So Monday opened there. We got the new week opening gap formed there that remains unmitigated. Price drop lower will mitigate the concerned encroachment of this monthly BC. Here, price drastically expand higher. But during our way up, at the low there. That's why I trade correlated theory. We have no cracking correlation, no sequential SMT, nothing that validate reversal. Even though you have a POI, if you trade correlated theory, you'll know that this low wasn't predicted. We didn't care about this reversal because we need cracking correlation to validate reversal anytime. So price come up, will mitigate a discounted POI. Price will drop back down lower. But which time will drop back down lower? That's my question. The 3 p.m. candle of Monday will edge September low from last year. I remember it because I mark it out on my chart and post story about it. We edge it. Engineering sell side liquidity. And at which time price will take out Monday low? Tuesday open. 6 p.m. will open and directly go lower. So just in terms of daily power of 3, the high of Tuesday will be unpredicted because we will not mitigate anything. So we know price is purely manipulating lower in favor of the weekly and the daily power of 3. We expand lower, and during our expansion lower, we will form daily cycle at the low. Meaning now we have a sequential SMT to validate long. And this is overnight price action, so I don't even trade that. But what will be shown there when I wake up the next morning are 1 hour CISD in a clear bullish structure. So what we want to do with that, we want to play off of that. We don't want to chase a continuation lower, even though the structure was bearish, our weekly profile was bullish. So it's a 50-50, but in terms of probability, we mitigate the POI form sequential SMT. We got a clear expansion higher. So we want to see bullish power of three play out this week. This is your goal. This is your focus. Now, every day, you take every open of the week, every day was bullish until Friday, because Friday made what? Friday made the retracement for the rest of the week. Anyway, Friday was a bank holiday, so I don't really consider this anything. But in terms of just weekly power of three, this on the 1 hour, this was a clear bullish weekly power of three with the classic expansion. Most of the time, the classic expansion will happen. We'll not have a midweek reversal, because if you trade qualitative or just you just know about true open, Tuesday open is the true week open. This is the true open that open each week. So we want to see manipulation. It's like a true day open, same thing, or 9:30 open, same principle. We open, drop lower, form a manipulation leg below it open. So in discount, form sequential SMT, blast higher. So now that you have all the things you require to have the smart money reversal for your weekly profile, each day you will come into the market, you want to see the same thing, but on lower time frame. So let's go on the 15-minute time frame and we will dissect every daily power of two we had. So Tuesday will open and then we will start to accumulate. Here, it wasn't a clear daily power of three, but if you check the weekly power of three, it was also clear because we formed daily cycle at the low of Tuesday, and at the same time, we hold this bullish 15-minute CISD below the true day open, so in this kind of the range, while mitigating a certain POI in that range. This was perfect. We didn't need to dive into discount because price was heavily bullish. So now coming into your day, you either want to take a short if the lower time frame power of 3, such as the 9:30, 10 a.m., 10:30, 11 a.m. power of 3 show bearish sign. But if you want to short, you need to play safe and target low-hanging fruit. That's personally what I did. I personally short because I know I wouldn't be able to long on this precise day, because 9:30 expand directly higher. We didn't form any type of sequential SMT. So once 10 a.m. mitigate this high, I take my short because I was confident that 9:30 low needed to be manipulating again before showing a smart money reversal to then blast off the buy side again because the weekly profile was bullish. So the same thing I used on higher time frame, I use it on lower time frame. I have my smart money reversal for my weekly profile. I have my smart money reversal for my daily profile. And now what? My lower time frame power of three. I want a clear lower time frame smart money reversal. 9:30 wasn't clear enough. I was expecting price to mitigate 9:30 again from a real smart money reversal and then expand higher. And that's exactly what we did. That's why I took my short. So even though I'm against the weekly power of three, in the narrative and the idea of what I want to see, it's maybe not the highest probability trade, but it's valid because I know the narrative I have is good. So we mitigate the monthly BC again and then expand higher, same thing. I will not go in depth about the rest of the week just because Trump's talk a lot, and a lot. So this was purely manipulated. So I don't want to dive too much in depth because it will be super confusing for nothing. But we can see similar thing. Wednesday will open, will form a low of the day. The low of the day of Wednesday will be engineer liquidity. As you can see there, the daily power of three open, we have no cracking correlation, and price continue to expand higher. This means we have engineer sell side liquidity for whenever, when, I don't know, but at the end, this is engineer liquidity. Price expand higher, expand higher, expand higher. We form a reversal there that at the moment I was maybe expecting this high to be the high of the week in terms of weekly power of three. And I was totally right, as you can see there. Why? Because we mitigate certain POI, form certain cracking correlation that I talk about in the Discord. And we also are Wednesday. I'm not expecting a reversal, rarely on Tuesday and Friday. So I focus on those 3 days early on the week. So I took a short of there at early on PM session and then got out, I think, at the bottom of this week for a 300 point trade. And then price continued to drop lower. This was when Trump talked. We drop lower, drop lower, drop lower. And here is another example of what is a daily profile. Price mitigate a daily BC. At the same time, we mitigate the constant encroachment of it and respect it. So if we go on the lower time frame, the 15-minute time frame there, Tuesday was another void profile in terms of daily power of three. Why? Because the low of the day has no cracking correlation. So I saw many traders took this long right there with the 5 minute inversion. And that's why I don't trade inversion, because it was not even valid. The structure below us was not even valid. This was engineered liquidity for later on. This low will be mitigated at some point of time, but I don't know when, but it's lower probability. So I'd rather apply risk when there is a real value and it's really worth it, because on this case it wasn't, so I'm good not taking the trade. Something we want to pay attention of, because I know some people will call me liar, but not every power of 3 needs sequential SMT. Power of 3 works together. So whenever we have the weekly reversal, the next day following, if we got a proper expansion or distribution, we don't need absolutely to have any type of sequential at the high of the day or the low of the day. Let's say Tuesday from the high of the week, Wednesday expand lower, Wednesday high right there. Let's say we form Wednesday high there. We will not need to form sequential SMT to continue lower, because the sequential SMT we form at the high there, the high of the week, can still play out in terms of distribution. And this is what I call a high probability OTE. We form that with proper sequential SMT, but I don't talk about this on YouTube. So if you want to learn more, everything will be in the description. But anyway, so this was all the weekly profile I've used in the past months that generate me over 6 figures in funding. If you guys have any question or concern, anything, everything is taught in the Discord. I talk about this. I have a couple Notion about Power of 3. And I also have a free community if you want to join. Everything will be in the description. I made another Power of 3 video that goes way more in depth in terms of what is a Power of 3. If you don't know what is a weekly profile is, you need to understand what is a Power of 3 before knowing what is a profile. I recommend watching it before diving into every weekly profile, because this will just confuse you. And if you want to join the free community, everything will be in the description. So I hope you guys like this video a lot. Comment, subscribe. It's really appreciated. And I'll see you guys in another lesson. Take care.